Welcome to the 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Lacrosse Show presented by Duke Cannon. Absolutely packed episode. Today you're going to listen in on Virginia shocking the number one team in the country in Notre Dame, Syracuse taking down the Blue Devils in the Dome, Penn State proving Hoagie right by whooping Ohio State, North Carolina plowing Harvard, and an interview with McCabe and Brendan Millon. First up, we're talking unranked Virginia upsetting the number one team in the country, Notre Dame Fighting Irish in Charlottesville. Brendan Millon scored the game-winning goal. Robbie Hopper had the game-sealing turnover to ultimately catch the W for the Wahoos. But let's start by talking about Notre Dame. They were in the media's number one team in the country, but a lot of the people had Richmond at that number one spot since the beginning of March. Kev, let's start with you. Were the Fighting Irish fraudulent number ones?
They never got my number one vote in the media poll, Mitch. I was voting Syracuse to start, then Princeton, and most recently I flipped over and finally voted number one for Richmond last week. I'm going to vote again, Richmond number one this week. But I think what's important to look at here is that Notre Dame has only played 7 games. They play the shortest schedule in the country. And for comparison's sake, their ACC rival Syracuse have already played 11 games. So that's 4 more games at this point in the season. And of the 6 games leading into this, 2 of them were played in a practice bubble. One of them you couldn't watch. And so while Dukes was getting a lot of hate this past week for the eye test, I think even if you don't agree with someone else's eyes, more people need to use their eyes. Trust your eyes and what you see out there. We didn't see a lot of Notre Dame, and even their wins that they had, I think there were some question marks around them. So the one thing I will point out, though, the people knew. We put out the People's Top 20. On March 3rd, they voted Richmond number one. They've been voting Richmond number one over Notre Dame for 4 straight weeks. This Tuesday will be a 5th straight week, so I got to give the people some credit. I guess they know more than the media.
I love that. Hoagie, let's bounce to you real quick. Last week, we talked about Notre Dame having a ton of offensive threats. You've been really high on Josh Yago and obviously Luke Miller, but who is this team's offensive alpha?
Yeah, and that's, I think, the issue with this Notre Dame team that got exposed this weekend against Virginia. I don't think they have a clear alpha. I think they have a lot of really good players and a lot of really good pieces on this offense, but I don't think they have found that clear number one guy yet to really be the guy like Pat Cavanaugh was, like Chris Cavanaugh was in the past for the Notre Dame teams, and really have the guy like, hey, who are you going to go to last second of the game? Game's in the balance. They went to Matt Jeffrey this weekend. We saw what Robbie Hopper did with the overhead check to seal it for Virginia. But I think that's been the issue, and that's going to be the issue moving forward for Notre Dame is they need to find who is going to be this alpha. Josh Yago leads the team in points. I've been very high on him all year. I love his game. He led them in points again with 3 on Saturday against Virginia. Luke Miller has had a breakout campaign this season. All great players, but at the end of the day, they're already 0-1 in ACC play. Some of the wins they've had, they're great wins against Maryland, Virginia, Ohio State, but they're maybe not as elite of wins as we thought they were at the time of getting them, right? So they're coming into the thick of ACC play now. And look, not every team makes the ACC tournament, so one team's going to miss. We probably thought it was Virginia before this week, but now Virginia has the win over Notre Dame, so Notre Dame's going to need to find some wins against some tough opponents down the stretch. And I don't think they're going to get that unless they find an alpha. They don't have one right now, and if they don't have one, they might miss the ACC tournament.
Yeah, it's so funny how last week we were kind of praising Notre Dame for being so balanced, all 3 of their attackmen being over 20 points. And now we're looking at it a week later as, wait, maybe they actually need a guy like Chris Cavanaugh who can take over in a big moment. I think that while we thought it was hard to replace Pat Cavanaugh a year ago with his quarterbacking ability and his facilitating, it's an even bigger loss when you don't have a guy like Chris who can go to the rack in the clutch. The one guy I did mention that I wanted to see more of was Matt Jeffrey. And while he had a good game, that last play against Robbie Hopper, he got stripped and yard sailed. So that's just a great check by Robbie Hopper. But yeah, you want your guy to go and score in that moment.
Yeah, I'm still going to go with Matt Jeffrey there. I think that he is the most alpha on that team. I think that it's clear in that decision that they wanted him to go for it. Are they missing an alpha attackman, which could end up being their detriment? Yes, I do think they do have an alpha lacrosse player in Matt Jeffrey. Like, even just look at the goal that he had. Football player-esque. Kev, was that you on the socials there?
Yeah.
Kev, good tweet. Good tweet.
Clark with the assist.
Clark did. That was a alley-oop to Kev. I was like, slam it home. No, but I think Matt Jeffrey is the alpha. And as much as I'm a big Robbie Hopper guy, we'll get into that in a little bit. It was a great takeaway check. he got beat. Like we all can admit that, right? He did get beat. It wasn't like Matt Jeffrey did get the look, not the finish, and he did get chicken stripped. But again, he did get by his defender. So that was probably the first time in Matt Jeffrey's career that he was asked to go score a game-tying goal, game-winning goal, whatever you might consider it. It didn't work out, but I mean, hey, at least he's athletic enough to run by his defender. So I don't know. He seems like the go-to guy for me.
Dukes, let's stay with you. Should we be worried about Notre Dame after this loss?
No. I mean, I'm not. I know obviously that people are going to call me a Notre Dame homer. Do they look the eye test this week? No. But I think it was overall just a weird game, weird spot. Like, I don't think of them any differently in the national landscape. I didn't think that they'd go undefeated. I did not think this is the best Notre Dame team of all time. Really, the difference in this game is more of a testament, in my opinion, to Virginia. Like, Virginia controlled that face-off X. They did not. Notre Dame did not win the ground ball battle. They had to get more possessions to kind of keep track with this Virginia team. There was no turnover discrepancy that leaned Notre Dame's way, and also it just felt like an overall trap spot. Say what you want about Virginia in that Maryland game, and Lars's quote about turning the season around. They have looked like a different team since that moment, right? And I think that at the end of the day, Lars. I was a couple weeks ago, I was asking, is Lars a Sean Kerwin merchant? Now I'm buying back in on UVA for the 2027 season. No one's got range by me, like me, by the way. But Lars did everything. Lars did everything possible to not let Sean Light, in my opinion, the best defender in the country, shut down one of his offensive playmakers. He was trying to find switches, have McCabe coming out of the box, and McCabe was able to get 4 points. I think it was just overall just a masterful game plan by UVA. And again, I really want to slam this point home. These are college kids. Like, Notre Dame was walking in Charlottesville, be like, UVA sucks. Like, we're going to walk in, we're going to be able to squeak by a win and get out of here. Like, no, Virginia on paper is a very talented team that's getting healthy at the right time. And I think that Notre Dame fell into a huge spot more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely, too. I think another point, Duke, you mentioned the face-off battle earlier. Notre Dame didn't have their star freshman, Aiden Diaz-Matos, in this game, so that was definitely a little bit of a loss for Notre Dame, and I think it was kind of one of these classic look-ahead spots where we're all hyping up the Richmond-Notre Dame game coming up next week. We're like, is it going to be streamed? It's finally streamed. Notre Dame didn't coincidentally play last week, where, kind of a mid-season bye, Mitch. Some people say maybe it's a good thing. My opinion on it, I don't like the midseason bye. I think it messes with the mojo. So I think you kind of come out maybe a little slower than you would have, or you kind of takes a little longer to settle in, whereas if you're in your routine of week after week. So I think all that coupled up with Duke's, like you said, college mentality of like, oh, we're the number one team in the country.
Right.
We're just going to come in, beat Charlotte, beat Virginia. All right, move on to the next game. And you were playing a hungry Virginia team, and you saw that on the field on Saturday.
It's almost like the Maryland situation in the Big Ten. Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily happened, but I think anytime you play some of these Big Ten ACC teams, you can't lull asleep against any that's more on coaching. Get your guys ready. This isn't the same foundation really as the Kavanaugh teams that went back-to-back national champions. So I think that college kids kind of fall into narratives a little bit, and Virginia's definitely on paper talented enough to beat any team in the ACC.
I mean, it's just like when Hoagie and I were at Ohio State. It doesn't matter if we were the best team in the Big Ten playing the worst team in the Big Ten. You had to show up because conference play is a different beast. I said it on the broadcast. There's two different seasons within one season. You have the first half, the non-conference, and then the second half, the conference play. So totally agree with you, Dukes. Let's turn the page to Virginia. They've won their third straight since losing to Maryland in that triple overtime game. That was a crazy game. We obviously chatted on it a couple podcasts back. Dukes, I want to stay with you again. After that loss, you agreed, and you just mentioned with Lars Tiffany that was a turning point. You even shouted at Robbie Hopper, who clinched the game for the Wahoos. How validated are you feeling right now? Potentially, called it.
What's there to be happy about? Job's not finished. Inner Kobe Bryant. It just seems like a team that needed a loss to unite everybody. They're finally getting healthy at the right time, and I think that's the biggest thing. You had Schroeder coming in and out of the lineup. You got Terenzi back. They need to stack some wins together, right? A lot's got to go right for the UVA team, but even if you're looking at the RPI right now for Lacrosse reference, Virginia's 6-4, Ohio State's 8-2. Ohio State's 15th in RPI. Virginia's right there on the bubble right now at 11 on the RPI. And I don't know how this is going to really be updated. I'll check it in later on the show after all the games update. But Virginia, if you look outside that Towson lost, if they beat Towson, we're probably looking at a team that right now is on the right side of the bubble. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this season shakes out for the Virginia Cavaliers. And I'm going to steal this. I literally already told the person on Twitter, D2, D3, NAII burner. He knows who he is. I'm stealing his tweet right now. But he goes, outside of the Towson loss, it's really not a bad season so far. The Maryland loss is bad, but it's Maryland versus Virginia. It'll always be a good game. Richmond is ranked number 1. You can spin zone the Hopkins game with just one bad quarter, and then the Towson loss is the Towson loss. Really, like, when you start putting it together in those terms, Virginia's not that far away. And again, they're finally healthy. So, I don't know. Is it the Cavs' year? I mean, remember the UNC game that the UNC 2016 season that we talked about a couple years ago?
Yeah.
I forget exactly how those games shook out, but like they had 2 early losses that did not make any sense.
Let's just phrase it out. If UVA somehow wins a national championship, obviously it being in Charlottesville, this could be one of the craziest. Yeah, I know. Get the documentaries out. Like, this would be an insane story. Hoagie, I want to bounce to you. Let's talk potentially some Notre Dame ball. Who has been the X factor for them recently?
Yeah, I think for Virginia, there's been a lot of things that's kind of transpired from that Maryland game, too. 'Cause you said maybe that was a bad loss to me. I don't think that was a bad loss at all. Maryland's an NCAA tournament team. I'm not hopping off that wagon. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But, Virginia's just gotten better and better, and we talk about that Lars quote, right? And you look at the end of that Maryland game. We're going back. What kind of propelled them to get that game to overtime? Andrew Greenspan at the Faceoff X came in, went toe-to-toe with Henry Dodge, won the overtime faceoff, gave them a bunch of chances late in that game to really win that game. Unfortunately, they didn't win it, but since then, over the last 3 games on this 3-game winning streak, Andrew Greenspan, who was a transfer from Notre Dame, so that had to feel good on Saturday, getting that win against Notre Dame. He won a national championship his freshman year there. It's been at Virginia the last 2 years. He's been 67% over the last 3 games. He's become Virginia's real top faceoff guy. He's taken 15 faceoffs per game over the last 3 games, and he's kind of been that guy to me that's really, while a lot of the players have started to get healthy and the script's kind of flipped, he's kind of been the guy that's really set the tone for this Virginia team. And I think he's going to be a guy that you can really ride down the stretch here to keep getting you wins. And Dukes, you talked about it a moment ago about them getting back in the tournament picture and stuff. Virginia gets 2 more ACC wins. They're in the NCAA tournament. I think you get 1 more win, you're very much in the conversation. They find a way to get 2 more ACC wins. This team is going to be in the dance come May.
Mm-hmm. Totally. I'm going to go with my X Factor player for Virginia. Hoags, I also don't want to take away and be like, I kind of agree with you exactly. When we talked about Virginia for the most part of the season, we have talked about how their offense has been the bright spot for this team, right? Like, just get this team, this offense, possessions. It's not like they have, Merrick's a great story. I don't necessarily think he's in the top end of ACC goalie specialists, but what they're finding with Andrew Greenspan to get this offense extra possessions is what was the deciding factor, in my opinion, of that Notre Dame game. My X factor, though, I called out their midfield unit a couple weeks ago for not having production. Joey Terenzi, Manhasset product, Long Island kid, finally healthy, finally getting points on the board. 9 points since the Maryland game. He's only played 1 game outside of that, the Richmond game. So I think Terenzi, big time recruit, Long Island guy. You just know he's got that grit. So he's kind of been my X factor of this offense. And when Virginia was kind of in that lull where they didn't look at the Towson game, I kind of was like Dunkel. He looked like the premier the attackman that converted to the midfield spot. They haven't even played together at their best. So that's a really exciting thing for Virginia, to kind of have these guys pair up and playing their best ball at the same time. Joey Terenzi's kind of been my X factor for this Virginia team.
Yeah, a way for these guys to potentially peak at the right time is so important for them to obviously get inside the bubble ACC play. Next week, Virginia heads to Durham, where they'll try to beat Duke in the regular season for the first time in 22 years. It's crazy to say. 12 noon, ACC Network. One ACC team is going to miss the conference tournaments, way obviously ACC conference is. After UVA's big win and Duke's loss to Syracuse, who do you guys think will be the odd team out in the ACC? Dukes, let's start back with you.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know this, to anybody out there listening. The ACC is a pretty good conference from how I understand it. I've been covering this game for the better part of 5 years now. It's a pretty good conference. I'd say the best. So a good team's going to be left out. And I don't want to be like, you're disrespecting us. No. One team's got to go. Virginia. That's the team that will not make the ACC tournament.
Yeah,
Again, I'm on the 2027 train, not the 2026.
I'm with you on Virginia. We were just talking about Virginia making the NCAA tournament, and it's like, okay, hold on, pump the brakes. I want to know where everyone stands on who's missing the ACC tournament. I think it's going to be Virginia until I see them beat Duke in the ACC tournament. I may be, and the only one is old, or in regular season, I might be the only one who's old enough on this podcast who has seen UVA beat Duke in a regular season game before. But no, I think Syracuse and North Carolina are the locks. Maybe Duke and Notre Dame are sweating a little bit.
Hoagie?
Yeah, I'm going to go on the flip side of that. I think Duke misses the ACC tournament. I think Duke is a team to me that I haven't been sold on all year long with the schedule, and they impressed me this weekend. They went toe-to-toe with Cuse in the Dome in a game that they could have won. But to me, the goalie position is a issue for me moving forward for what this Duke team looks like. I don't really have trust in Patrick Jamison right now. I don't know where Coach 𝐓𝐇𝐄 stands with Patrick Jamison. Henry Blake filled in and did a good job in the second half, Mitch, former teammate of ours. But it's going to be...
When did he do a good job? Henry Blake looked like ass.
I mean, he let up 5 goals
I know he
in the
can't
second
say
half.
that, but I can.
He let up 5 goals. Jamison let up 10. Nonetheless, I'm not sold on the goalie room either way, whichever guy they end up throwing in there. So
Jesus.
I think
Henry
Duke
Blake,
ends
I
up
love
missing
you,
it.
dude.
I really do. And I know, they say history repeats itself. And, Virginia, last time Virginia beat Duke in the regular season, the Millon brothers weren't even born, which is crazy.
Jesus.
But I think that ends this weekend. I think Virginia goes down to Durham, beats Duke. Duke goes into an 0-2 ACC start. And I think, based on these projections, I think Duke then would miss the NCAA tournament most likely if they don't make the ACC tournament. So I have Duke as the odd man out of the ACC tournament.
Let's stay with that. We're going to bump. Let's chat some Syracuse. Obviously, big win against Duke. Kev, who made the difference for the Orange in this win?
For me, it was Peyton Anderson. I think that Syracuse has kind of been tempted to start him at attack, and they got those 4 guys with Spallina, Finn Thompson, Michael Leo, and then Peyton Anderson. Well, one of them's got to be the odd man out. One of them's got to run through the box. And Peyton Anderson kind of lately has been the one that's most comfortable and made the biggest difference. Just had a season-high 5 points, 3 goals, 2 assists. The one-handed assist, I think, in particular, across the crease to Finn Thompson was a tone setter. That, like, hey, we're gonna play loose and we're gonna play fast in this game, and we're gonna go toe-to-toe with Duke and let the chips fall where they may. So I like Peyton Anderson. I think he brings a lot of youthful energy to this team. Like, we all think of Syracuse as like this group that grew up together. Well, Peyton Anderson is kind of the young buck who's in there, and I like the way he's coming along, and I'm excited to see the future of him at Syracuse, even beyond this year, because I think he'll get more looks at attack and stuff. But right now, he's finding those short stick matchups and dominating them. So I like Peyton Anderson as a difference maker in Syracuse's offense.
Dukes? What's that face?
No, don't do that. Don't gaslight me. I do not give a face. I'm going to, anybody that's listening to the podcast, I'm just not the biggest Syracuse fan this year. I think I like Spallina. I like McCool a lot. I like the personalities, but just like overall, this team just pisses me off. I wouldn't be shocked if you put out a segment like Syracuse versus anybody. I'd probably take anybody right now. That's just like, I will say they almost got me on the side recently with where they had to take the, I don't even want to cancel by saying burn the boats, but that whole like quote that got like out there, they can't use that saying anymore. I almost want to go all in on Syracuse, but one player for Syracuse that I can't get my eyes off of, and it's like him, Finn Thompson, and Spallina look all the same. Luke Roa. Luke Roa is making a great case to be gunslinger of the year. The guy has an absolute cannon from deep. I think he is without a doubt the best midfield shooter in the country. And I think he can make the case that he could sling it. And I think he might make the case that he's just the best shooter in the country. He kind of reminds me a little bit of a Ben Johnston from last year.
Yeah, I like that. Dukes, let's stay with you. We obviously talked a bunch about Duke's soft non-conference schedule that they've put up. Obviously, that's been a massive point for us. Yeah. And now this loss to Syracuse, where do you stand with the Blue Devils going forward?
Yeah, I think that Duke's in a really interesting spot. I think Hoagie just talked about it. You know how I feel about Henry Blake. I think Henry Blake has potential. I liked what I saw intangible-wise. But Duke seems like one goalie away from being elite. I still don't know why they took out Patrick Jamison. Not saying like Patrick Jamison looked like an All-American out there, but it didn't make sense. Even Danowski said he considered going back to Jamison. It wasn't an injury thing. He said in the postgame, like, I thought about going back. to Patrick Jamison. Seems like whenever a team is in this type of situation goalie-wise, I think we saw it with the Water Dogs and the PLL for the past couple of years. Do not like that. You're putting in a goalie that's like half in the crease, half out of the crease. They don't really know if it's their job or not. So I don't agree with the way Danowski handled that on Saturday at all. I think he pulled the plug way too early. But yeah, for all this talk on Duke and their schedule, like it'll still even out at the end of the year to be a top 12 schedule. They're at the RPI, they're still 8th. And when it's all said and done in the ACC play, they'll probably have a top 8 to 12 strength of schedule. Lacrosse Reference has them as an 88% chance to make the tournament. They have 8 wins right now. If they get to 9 wins, it's 78%. If they get to 10 wins, Lacrosse Reference says it's 100% lock. Now, when you go to Duke's schedule, one thing that I tried to look into a little bit, 2022, like they scheduled Penn, they scheduled these Ivies, they had losses, I believe, to Loyola and Jacksonville, and they had an OT loss to Penn. How much did 2022 go into their like decision to be like, hey, this is the kind of schedule that we're going to put out this year? Like, let's just go easy, and then we'll just go play ACC play. We'll get 3 wins in the ACC, take care of business with the lesser schools, and we'll be in the tournament. You see this nowadays with even college basketball. We hear about these mid-majors in the tournament. The tournament's going on right now. Mid-major, like a lot of Power 5 programs, they're like, let's go play Mississippi Valley State, and then let's go play SEC basketball, and we'll be in the tournament if we go 500. So,
Hoagie, I know you're passionate about this aspect. What are your thoughts on what Dukes is saying?
Yeah, I think it goes both ways, but I think you want to talk a little bit about the March Madness aspect. A great example of that is St. John's this year. Won the Big East regular season and tournament championship, ended up being a 5 seed because they didn't win their out-of-conference game, so it wasn't able to really carry them down the line. I think the 2022 team, when looking at Duke, that was a little bit different because I think the bubble was a little bit more stacked in 2022 with the teams in the end between Ohio State, Harvard, Notre Dame, and Duke. Like, that was a really stacked bubble, and all those teams were probably worthy of making the NCAA tournament. So I think the one thing that will work to Duke's advantage this year, and you're rolling the dice with scheduling that easy schedule, we'll talk about a little more with Ohio State, but they're in a really tough position right now. But for Duke, like, the bubble this year is not as deep as it's been in years past, so there's going to be a lot more room for error, if that makes sense. Like, there's not going to be as many teams. It seems like it's going to be pretty clear cut at the end. Obviously, we're halfway through the lacrosse season. Today, actually, as we're recording this on Sunday, is the literal halfway point from the first game to the national championship, which is crazy of the season. Yeah, I looked it up the other day. But yeah, so I think Duke's going to be in a better spot this year with the easier schedule just because the bubble's not going to be as deep as it's been. But it is an interesting point because as much as we talk about the ACC, not all 5 teams are probably going to make it from the ACC. It'll be most likely 4. So if you're that odd man out of the tournament, you could miss.
I love that. All right,
let's hop
to Hoagie. Did you agree? Do you agree with Duke saying ACC is the best conference?
I mean, you have to say it's the best conference in college.
No, I mean, you just don't have to because you said an Ivy League team was going to win the championship.
Yeah, I can say an Ivy League, but what does that have to do with who's winning the championship?
Big Ten
what does that have to do with who's the best?
I was live on site in Columbus doing a little color of the game. Penn State versus Ohio State. The Buckeyes, they struggled big time against Penn State. It was sad. It was, look, I tried to do my best in the booth to not be biased. Ohio State kind of gave me an easy aspect to not be biased. Nittany Lions win 13-6, which means Hoagie, I believe you have to do something here with a little bet you had with Grant and Met. Kevin Dukes, you want to start it off?
Grant DM'd me Saturday night, yesterday after the loss, and was like, get ready for that chant. And I was like,
we are!
Penn State!
We are!
We are!
Penn State!
We are!
Penn State!
Penn
State! That did not feel right. Oh, my God.
I love that.
Mitch, that was brutal. Penn State!
I'll be honest.
That sounds like a natural.
Our senior year at Ohio State, a bunch of us during the fall drove to Penn State for the Ohio State versus Penn State football game. One of the best weekends of my college and Hoagie's college career. And what's the song they always play?
We are!
Or something?
We'd be like, fuck you, Penn State!
I love that.
We were in we had like,
I'll be honest, too, for any
Penn State.
We had like
young
20
lacrosse
guys
players out there
on the team. We were in the top, Mitch, the top of the stadium.
Yeah.
Like,
we were at the top of the stadium. We had our shirts off.
We were
losing.
Find a picture.
The Buckeyes came back, and that's what we do. But Hoagie, as an Ohio State alum, as a fan, how are we feeling?
Yeah, it's definitely tough as an alum and a fan, just because, I mean, I try and look at it in both lights. Obviously, as an alumni, it's a tough loss, and I think it's something that you want to say, hey, flush it and move on. Like, let's find a way to get a win this weekend and kind of move on. But looking at it in more of our light on the show, I think it's a little bit concerning to me, because I think Ohio State is behind the times on what you need to be successful today, in my opinion, in college lacrosse. I think the defense, no one's doubting, is one of the best in all of college lacrosse every single year. It's been a staple, Travis Crane, Coach Myers, since we got there, Mitch, even since before we got there with Ben Randall and all those guys. The defense has always been strong, but the offense, especially this year, and the scheme and the way that we play offensively is something that, quite frankly, in my opinion, I don't think can win a national championship in today's day and age. I think you need to be able to run and gun. You need to be able to score 12 to 15 goals to win a legit national championship and make it into May, Mitch. You see, you were there firsthand, the way that Penn State is able to move the ball offensively and create open shots, Mitch. It's something that I think, quite frankly, Ohio State doesn't have in their arsenal right now. And that's tough to say as an alum, Mitch, but I think it's something that we have to talk about, and that's true. And I think if we want to take the next step to, make it to championship weekend, like Penn State being 3 of the last 5, we need to find a way to revamp this offense to get it to be more explosive.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough time to be a Buckeye right now. Hoagie, I want to stick with you. You've been, front lines of the Penn State train. Who do you think has made the biggest difference for the Nittany Lions this year?
I think it's Preston Hawkins. Preston Hawkins, to me, has made the biggest difference for this Penn State team. And I'll put my hand up and be the first guy to say I was critical and skeptical of it coming into the season. I was really high on this Penn State team in the preseason. My question mark was the goalie position. I had a question about Preston Hawkins. He's a true freshman, and to me, goalie is the hardest position to come in on day one and play and be successful, right? And it's such a key piece to winning a real championship. And obviously, the first 2 games Preston played wasn't his best. It was indoors, tough loss. Colgate, he didn't have his great game, got pulled. Then they lose to Villanova, and it looks like that's going to be the weak link that, to me, really holds them back from competing, because I felt top to bottom. The offense, I thought, was one of the best in the country. The defense is one of the most underrated units in lacrosse. Great face-off tandem. This is a team that's legit national championship level good. But as this season's gone on, you've seen Preston Hawkins grow, mature. I mean, this kid's an absolute gamer. You want to talk about a guy who has like a clutch gene in him, to me, and a guy who plays his best lacrosse when the lights are brightest. Look at the biggest games he's played this year. Versus Princeton, 61% net. Cornell, 60% net. Maryland, 70% net. And Ohio State this past weekend, a kid from Columbus coming home against his hometown school, 60% in a win. Preston Hawkins, to me, is just a kid who's gotten better and better as this season's went on. He's becoming more confident as the games are going on. And to me, he's going to be the piece that makes Penn State a true national championship level team. And I genuinely think his ascendance over these last couple weeks gives me total confidence. I think Penn State, without a doubt, is a team that can hold up the trophy on Memorial Day Monday.
Totally agree. Wait, so you're telling me that Preston Hawkins is from Columbus?
He is from Columbus, Ohio.
Could you, KB, could you make a national championship roster?
Oh, gosh.
If you got all the kids that left the state of Ohio, how are we even going to, Danny Logan, Jack Hanna, we got Preston Hawkins. Jesus Christ.
I know, it's not great. And this is actually something that's interesting, too. Before we always hop on these broadcasts on Saturdays, we have a Zoom with these college coaches just to get a little in-depth aspect of, who's playing, who's not, what's the schemes and the whole bit. And I asked Coach Tambroni, I'm like, hey, are you going to have a talk with Preston Hawkins coming into Saturday as a freshman, coming back to his city? Is that something you're going to chat with him? And he said confidently no. Like, he knows, he's like, Preston is a pro. And he has no sort of worry in the world, and it ultimately showed with, I think his whole high school was there in the stands, and the guy showed out. He's a pro, but to Dukes, your point, it's not a great look.
I haven't gotten to know Preston, Mitch. You know him too, coaching him in the camp.
Yep.
I've talked with him a bunch of times. He's a very confident kid. He's not going to be someone who comes into Columbus this weekend, is kind of like a little nervous, a little uptight. Like, he was coming in like, I'm ready to prove these guys like wrong. Like, I want to take
let's not forget, they did this whole entire game, this whole entire win, 13-6, without potentially their best player. Kev, I want to come to you. Hunter 𝐓𝐇𝐄 didn't even play. They still won. Injuries still up in the air. I didn't really get too much insight with Tambroni, but what are your thoughts on that? It's crazy to think about.
It is crazy to think about, but this is what Penn State does. If you look at last year, same situation with Matt Traynor. They kind of got hot. They found the rhythm when Matt Traynor was out. They beat Cornell last year, the only team to beat the national champs last year. They did it without their best player. So it's no surprise that they beat Cornell this year without him. They beat Maryland without him, and now they beat Ohio State without him. What I'm curious is, what's it going to look like when he comes back? Will he ascend this offense, or will it be, okay, we got to fix the chemistry again here. 𝐓𝐇𝐄's here. He needs to get his touches. He needs to get his shots. Because last year when Matt Traynor came back, what happened? First game back, they played Ohio State, a little bit of a letdown loss. Now, they found the rhythm down the stretch, and if you remember in the NCAA tournament, Matt Traynor was their guy. So I fully expect Hunter 𝐓𝐇𝐄, even if there is a little bit of a road bump, if and when he does come back this year, again, we don't know the extent of his injury. I think when we get to late May, and we're talking about a national championship or a championship weekend run, he's going to be their guy when their rest of their dudes are shut down. He can go get you 4, 5, 6 goals.
100%. I think he is a dude, and I'm excited to see what else he's going to bring to that offense.
He is a dude.
What Hoagie was saying earlier, like, I was most surprised in the booth of just how much these guys sling the ball. I mean, some of their goals, they were dodging to and moving it like 5 to 6 to 7 times before they even got shots off. It was impressive. They're a team that I already see in the Final Four from that game. But on the other side, the Buckeyes haven't scored double digits in the month of March. Kev, let's stick with you. Can they win with Big Tasty at less than 100%?
Yeah, this is a major concern for me. Heading into the season, I was pretty high on Ohio State. Their offense has not come together the way I thought those pieces would. And at least they were able to win for a long stretch with their defense. I did take a little hit to my confidence when Bobby Van Buren went down before the season. Now that 𝐓𝐇𝐄 is playing at less than 100%, that's even more concerning for me. I think the wheels could come off pretty quickly here for Ohio State. And if we're looking at maybe only 2 teams getting to the NCAA tournament from the Big Ten, is it going to be Penn State and Maryland gets hot and right at the right time? Like, it's crazy to think about how week to week things are fluctuating. But Hoagie, I'm curious if you have any insight. I saw during the broadcast at halftime, Caleb was wearing like a sling on his shoulder.
Yeah.
What's the latest there?
Yeah, Tasty, we talked about it last week, hurt his shoulder in warm-ups against Rutgers last week. Guys I talked to, it didn't seem like it was too major of an injury, but talked to some more guys, tried to do some more digging yesterday after the game. Tasty was in a sling all week in practice, was pretty limited with what he was doing. So clearly this, to me, without having any official detail on what exactly the injury is, just speculation of what I put 2 and 2 together, it doesn't seem like it was just a stinger that kind of gets you better. It seems like maybe this is something that's more of a serious injury than we thought. So that's definitely something to look out for moving forward. I think you could tell, at least in the beginning of the game, he wasn't as quick to a lot of the shots, maybe as he was, just because maybe the full mobility is not there. And then coach obviously decided to put Jack Allen in the fourth quarter, but love Jack Allen. He performed really well against Rutgers, but I think if you don't have a full Tasty at 100%, it's really hard to see this Ohio State team, making the NCAA tournament, or if they do, making any kind of run.
Who did it?
No.
I'm assuming he got hit with a shot during warmups.
Tasty?
Yeah.
It was actually during a jump up, like what I don't know what you call it, like the when you jump up and do like a shoulder tap in warm-ups after warm-ups is
like
what
a chest
tweaked
bump?
it. Kind of like a chest bump type of thing,
So
yeah.
You got hurt celebrating during warmups?
I don't know if you call it celebrating, but firing it up. Yeah, like tweaked
that's
it a
what you
little
do
off.
at Ohio State. You just got to take any win you could get it, celebrate when you can. If it's in warm-ups,
I didn't
if it's
know
losing
that.
by 10 in the first round of the NCAA tournament, it's Kevin
That's
Warren on the
crazy.
sideline doing cartwheels.
It just seems like it's one of those like freak type of things. You know what I mean? Like you twitch something the wrong
sucks.
way, Mitch. You cut the wrong way on something practice or whatever, and you kind of just tweak something. But we'll see how this kind of goes as the weeks go on. But I mean, we've talked about it, Mitch. The offense has not been where it needs to be for Ohio State. They only scored 3 goals offensively yesterday. I know we saw 6 on the scoreboard. Jack Oldman, the faceoff guy, scored 1. Jake Cohen and Kyle Foster, 2 pole goals. They only scored 3 goals in the offensive set. And Mitch, that's not going to get it done in any game ever. I don't care how good of a defense you have. So it's tough, but
and it's not looking great as next weekend they're going to travel
it's
to
now
College
put
Park.
you in a position as an alum where, I'm worried about where the season could go because it's do or die every week. You have the room for error is
100%.
gone. It's gone.
100%.
And you're walking into you're coming in a little bit wounded with Tasty, maybe not 100%. You're coming off a loss to Penn State, and you're basically walking into College Park on Saturday with maybe your season on the line at night to a Maryland team that's also hungry for a win, coming off a game where their maybe best player, Eric Spanos, has been banged up, coming off an 8-goal game where he's confident. So you're walking into the Lions' Den next week, and we'll really find out what this Ohio State team is on Saturday. If it's a close game or a win, you feel a little bit better. But if it's like the performance we saw on Saturday against Penn State, I think, as Kev alluded to, the wheels might start to come off.
Yeah, you hit it. Obviously, Buckeyes traveling to College Park to play Maryland. 6 p.m. Big Ten Network. Dukes, let's pump to you. Who needs this win more?
Who needs this win more? Great question, Mitch. With the trajectory that both these teams are on, with like the season that Maryland's having, it's got to be Ohio State. It has to. I mean, Hoagie just alluded to it a little bit. The trajectory of where both these teams are heading. Maryland, kind of the owners of the Big Ten, obviously. They're getting healthy right now. Spanos is getting healthy. Ohio State, they can't score more than 6 goals if their life depended on it. Their best player having this injury, the amount of unknowns. We now had an unknown about Maryland and Will Schaller. Kind of just realize you're not going to replace Will Schaller, but I mean, the drop off for Maryland at the defensive end probably won't be that significant. I want to say something though really quick about Hoagie and the way that he has questioned Duke and this schedule all season long.
Hit him.
I understand that Duke hasn't played anybody. I'm not saying that they have a barn burner of any sorts, but I mean, who the hell has Ohio State played? Their schedule stinks. And from what we know now, like even we were both big on Denver going after this weekend. They just got pumped by Georgetown. Georgetown stinks. Denver stinks. Those are the 2 best wins Ohio State has.
Ohio State's resume already still, they're not going to have the metrics compared to Duke when we're all said and done, but Ohio State still, even with not the strongest wins, has a better resume than Duke is right now. Duke's best wins are Denver,
I don't think that's a
Denver,
comparison.
Utah, and a St. Joe's team, by the way, that just lost a High Point yesterday. Okay, Ohio State's wins are Denver, which is as equal to the win that Duke has. They also beat Georgetown and Rutgers. So those are all 3 better wins than anything Duke has. So I agree. Ohio State's schedule has not been strong, Mitch. I've talked about that. I've never said it is strong. Ohio State's played a very weak schedule as well. But still to this day, if you want to talk about right now, Ohio State has multiple better wins than anything Duke can show for.
Yeah, but Duke also plays in the ACC, the best conference. It was always going to shake out this way. There was no unknowns with the ACC. The ACC is going to be the ACC every single year.
They've still
They were always going to end up. They were always going to end up with the top 10 strength of schedule, Hoagie. You know that. You're a ball knower.
That's
you
true.
Know. Yes,
that's true. But
you're talking about this non-conference out of schedule. It's like, but you do know what's coming at the end of the year.
The difference is Duke has played a very tough out-of-conference schedule every year. So for them to just all of a sudden this year be like, we're not playing anybody, to me, was a very interesting take.
I mean, Duke's schedule, we've talked about like at length, and we shouldn't talk about it anymore because they did exactly what they had to do to put themselves in position to make the tournament. They have to win like 2 ACC games now, and they're in. If they lost one of those games, they'd have to win, like probably go 5-0 in the ACC, but they don't. So
and that's the issue with the scheduling. I know Gary Gate alluded to it earlier in the week. He said that's why you play the tough scheduling, because he goes, we win 1-2 more games, we're a lock. We can afford losses. They're fine to make the NCAA tournament, whereas Ohio State now played the easy schedule, has the good record, Duke to the same degree, but you put yourself, Mitch, at this time of the year in a win-or-go-home game basically every week, which is not where you want to be.
Lastly, we've talked about it. Kev kind of hinted at it. We came a couple of weeks ago. I said 2 teams from the Big Ten will make the NCAA tournament. Hoagie said all 3. I said Maryland would be that team out. I'm pointing the thumb. I'm saying Maryland is actually going to be the team in. Ohio State out. I completely agree with Hoagie. This Ohio State offense stinks. You can't do anything when you stinks. The offense stinks. Mitch would be the best player on this offense at this point. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, I would. God.
Mitch, you think you would?
And that's the thing, Marty. That's the one thing I can't wrap my head around with Ohio State. Like, Marty, really good. Haas, really good. And even against Notre Dame, a great defense. They put up, 9 goals? 8 goals? If you have the exact time. 8 goals. You added Russell Melendez. Did Russell Melendez make the Ohio State offense worse? I'm just asking questions. I got my answer.
On Sunday, UNC dismantled Harvard 17-7. Owen Duffy scored 7 goals. Brady Wambach went 88% at the faceoff dot. Dukes, let's go back to you. What did you learn from the Tar Heels' dominant win against Harvard?
What I learned is I'm doubling down. The Tewaaraton is coming from UNC. That's the one thing that I know. I don't know how it's going to shake out down the line, but I'm going to stamp a Tar Heel as the Tewaaraton winner.
I like that. Kev, you're kind of shaking your head there. What are you thinking?
We'll go to Hoagie first.
Okay, V, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, Syracuse takes on North Carolina next week at 2 p.m. on ESPNU and a massive ACC clash, right? We talk about it all the time. We want to talk about a couple weeks ago, Mitch. I think we said, who's in the race for the Tewaaraton. Last year, CJ Kirst already had his name on the award. No one's really taken that initiative so far this year. Right now, I don't think anyone could say there's a clear guy. Anyone can have an opinion who they want. I think the winner of this game next weekend is in the driver's seat with one hand on the trophy of the Tewaaraton, meaning either Joey Spallina or Owen Duffy / Don Petramala. One of those three guys. Whoever comes out on the winning end of that is going to be the clear front runner as we come down the home stretch and is going to be, in my opinion, the best position to come home with the award.
All right, Hoagie, you're going to have to break out your thesaurus because a lot of games are massive, according to you. I would argue that this will be the least important meeting between Syracuse and UNC. It might be one of 3 meetings. They'll meet in the regular season. They're probably going to meet in the ACC championship, and then they might meet again on championship weekend or the national championship. And that will be the game that actually decides that. I agree. Maybe whoever wins this game will be in the driver's seat, but it'll be long forgotten after they meet 1 or 2 more times in the playoffs. So, hey, I'm still sticking with Joey, and I'm sticking with Syracuse. I know I just said that Peyton Anderson was their X factor. Their MVP is unquestionably Joey Spallina, who led them with 6 points this past weekend against Duke. He's scored. No one even has anything to say about him anymore. He's putting up points against these great teams. He's dodging good pulls. He's leading his team. They're winning games. And look, the stakes are just different at Syracuse right now. Going into this season, it was championship or bust. And that's just not the case at UNC. They know they have another year of Duffy. They know they have another year of Petramala. That's next year for them, that it's championship or bust. Hey, if UNC beats them or knocks them off once, twice, knocks them out of the tournament, then absolutely, I'll say then the Tewaaraton winner's coming from there. And that team's special and has a chance to go back to back. But right now, this is Syracuse's year until someone proves otherwise. So I'm sticking with Syracuse. I'm sticking with Joey Spallina as a Tewaaraton winner.
Yeah, I think, Dukes, you're all in on a UNC guy taking home the Tewaaraton.
I think I am. I mean, next week won't be like, wow, Brady Wambach just won the Tewaaraton. I don't think you're going to have that type of performance against Johnny Mullen. I do think that Duffy will have a performance like that if they win. I mean, we just saw him have, 7-8 goals. Obviously, he'll have a bigger test next week against, either Frigoris or Billy Dwan. It's going to be a way tighter matchup. We saw Quinn Kelly out for Harvard today against Syracuse. I do want to mention one person. I know I picked Virginia to miss the tournament, so he wouldn't be my pick right now to win it. But, I mean, if we start seeing, I know Kev talked a couple of weeks ago about Silas Richmond winning it as someone from the outside looking in. If we start seeing, Virginia beat a Syracuse, we start making a run at this NCAA tournament team and even missing it, stats all point to McCabe. I said it a couple weeks ago. Again, no one's really grabbed this award. It does feel at the end of the day, Joey won this with he had 7 points, I think, yesterday against Duke. Yeah, a great game. That's the type of performance that'll win you the Tewaaraton. You see that more and more. It's Joey's, right? Just given the name and the narrative and everything surrounding that. But from just a points production, McCabe, that's all I'll say. McCabe.
I think Joey gets it. I think it's going to be Joey's award in the end.
Let me pose
gun to the head, you going Joey?
I'm going Joey because I think, like you said, all the narratives of Syracuse most likely is going to be one of the top teams. That hurts McCabe.
Well,
I think it's 2. Kev, you made a good point of Duffy has another year, right?
And
it almost feels. Go, Mitch.
You're getting alpha, Mitch.
Shut up for
You
one
got
second, please.
alpha.
Go,
Jesus.
Mitch.
I know, Christ. Let me pose you this question. I want to hear around the room. Syracuse, Virginia in the championship. Virginia wins. Does Spallina still win it, or is it McCabe?
In the what, ACC championship?
No, national championship.
That's so insane.
I'd say this.
Look, I'm a big fate guy. The fact that it's down there now, There's a quick turning point. If they kill it in ACC play, we could see
Mitch,
something happen.
I love Virginia. I think the season's starting to be very well, but that is very bold to be expecting them to be on Championship Monday right now.
I'll say this.
Let's pump the brakes a little bit, Mitch.
If they beat Duke this weekend, I'm going to start saying that they're UNC 2016. It will really start to feel like it. It would feel like not fluky. It wouldn't feel like just a one-off win. I would even go as far to say if they win the ACC championship, they make the ACC tournament and they win it, I would say 𝐓𝐄𝐄 𝐍𝐄.
Yeah.
The stats.
I don't think it's a bad play.
Stats. It's not. The stats are right there. I think people really want to hate on him. It does not make any sense to me. Balls out. Even Sean Light, we talk about Joey, and I do think one of the strongest things for Joey Spallina and what he's able to do is he's able to know when to be like, hey, I got to go off ball. I got to be able to know this. 𝐓𝐄𝐄 knew yesterday. He's like, look, Sean Light, I'm not really going to get by this guy. How can I make myself effective? How can I give myself a chance? He's an elite playmaker. It's going up. It's getting switches. It's going up top. It's different ways that, we've become accustomed to being like, Joey, oh my God, look, he knows when he can't take Will Schaller to the net. Let's give 𝐓𝐄𝐄 the same props.
No, 𝐓𝐄𝐄 100% deserves the props, but there's going to be a lot of things involved to get him to the point where he's going to be winning it. I know the stats are there, but he's going to need all that other stuff behind him.
Virginia, I know the whole narrative and the career-based tour talk.
I get that kind of thing. Yeah,
Hoax, I get that. Can we please let's just put the media member hat on for a second, take the Long Island Spallina hat off for a second, and let's say this. Given everything we've said as media members, us on this podcast about Virginia, if they made the NCAA tournament and 𝐓𝐄𝐄 has 15 more points than Spallina, how are any of us going to be like, no, he's not deserving of the tour time?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point, Dukes. That's a really good point.
Because right now he's 10 points ahead. I don't think 𝐓𝐄𝐄's
the only thing holding 𝐓𝐄𝐄 back, essentially, Dukes, what you're saying is that Virginia's had a not great start to the year.
I'm not asking them to win a championship. If they won the tournament, if they made the tournament, I'd be like, oh my God, what a turnaround.
No, that's a very fair point.
I'm pretty sure Mitch said we're going to go around the room, so I'm going to take my turn to ignore Mitch's hypothetical and just say I still am on the Silas Richmond train. I just can't say that after the week after they play UMass Lowell.
I like that. We'll
you are.
Orange.
You are.
Orange versus the Tar Heels this Saturday coming up 2 p.m. on ESPNU. Now, a word from our beautiful sponsor, Duke Cannon. Duke Cannon makes high-quality grooming goods that keep you dialed in. At work, at the gym, at the field, whether you're grinding through the day or running to your late-night lacrosse league, their products are built to keep up. Use code PLL2026 at DukeCannon.com for 15% off your order. Or find Duke Cannon grooming goods at Target, Walmart, or even on Amazon. And now we welcome a pair of #1 recruits, both multiple MIAA champs, sons of 2 Hall of Famers, both currently ranked in the top 10 nationally in points per game, both already combined for 102 points this year. Now we welcome Brendan and 𝐓𝐄𝐄 Millon, baby.
What's up, fellas? Thanks for having us on.
I'm super excited. I've obviously known you two for a bit. I think, I want to point the thumb at our cast real quick. We've counted you guys out a bit. I don't know if you guys are obviously big watchers, big contributors, but last week we did an ACC preview, and we left you guys out. I think, 𝐓𝐄𝐄, I want to start with you. What has the journey been like this season for you guys so far?
Yeah, I think first and foremost is we've always had that trust with one another that, seeing things, and we try to talk about, keeping things internal a lot, but obviously guys are on social media and see, Inside Lacrosse write-ups or podcasts, whatever it may be. I think we've just kept that internal focus and, that trust in one another that, what happened last Saturday, we were expecting to happen. We were ready to go. So I think it's been great just knowing that even in the tough losses, this year, Hopkins and Towson, definitely two that come to mind, and the overtime thriller against Maryland. I just think it feels great to get a big win, and looking forward to keeping it going throughout ACC play.
Brendan, I want your thoughts on that as well. Obviously, a freshman coming onto the scene, really just kind of looking at 𝐓𝐄𝐄 as being this leader. But for you, coming into your first year, and this is how it starts, what's been big for you this season?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I've kind of felt is the togetherness. That's never really left us. We've been through a lot together as a team, and I just think the commitment to just obviously staying together, but supporting each other through it because, we've been through a lot already. And like McCabe said, I think this Saturday was something that was expected to happen just because of that togetherness and that belief that, we know what we're capable of, and we've fallen short a couple times, but either way, we're going to stick together.
I love that. The lacrosse world's obviously going to explode down there in Charlottesville for the Final Four this year. Brendan, I want to stay with you here. What's one of your favorite spots the crew should hit while we're down in Charlottesville for the Final Four?
I'm going to go with 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Rap.
Interesting.
It's very, very good. It's
McCabe, are you agreeing with that?
Yeah, I think so. I have this theory that 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Rap's located it's closer to the athletics area, so the regular students who are walking most of the time or don't really have much of a reason to go over there. But my theory is that if 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Rap was on the corner, it would be the number one restaurant in Charlottesville. Everyone would always be hitting that as opposed to going to Chipotle or going to go somewhere else. It is unreal.
I like that. Dukes?
I'm literally I was texting Jake Malicek because I was going to be like, yo, 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Raps, what do you think of it? Trying to get intel really quick on the spot. Totally got caught texting in class. Kev, do you want to take the first one or you want me to?
Well, I was curious, what to follow up there, what kind of, is it Mexican? You said 𝐓𝐇𝐄.
Yeah, it's kind of like a breakfast burrito type of place.
Oh.
They do different lunch type stuff, but yeah, it's known for the breakfast burrito rolling up there. They got a huge menu. It is just in, out, food is unreal.
Eggs, potatoes, they got it all. It's money.
Eggs, potatoes, they got it all.
Zach Carey just said ball knowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to.
There we go.
Wait, hold on.
Kevin.
Mailbox, I got you on the air with McCabe and Brendan Millon right now, right? They just said that.
The boys.
They said that 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Raps, best place to eat in Charlottesville.
Yeah, well, it used to be Zazu's for those in the know, but what they do there is they take all the ingredients in your burrito and they put it in a little steamer, and it melts the cheese and mixes everything together, and it's phenomenal. Steak burrito, 𝐓𝐇𝐄 Raps, the top 2 food I've ever had in my life.
Ask Jake what's his spot.
What's your spot? Number one spot in Charlottesville for people there in May. Where are you taking me and Mitch and Hoagie
They
and
kind of
Kev?
stole it from me because that's usually my go-to answer. There's a place, so I don't know even if the Millon boys know this, but there's an Exxon gas station if you're going to Birdwood out that way, past Ivy Provisions, past
Oh, the
Stab,
market?
and there's a little deli inside the
market?
Exxon gas station. There's a market in there. I don't know if they've been. They know. They make some gas sandwiches
Yes.
inside that gas station.
It is.
All right, Jake.
I love
It
that.
flies under the radar
Listen,
because
tell
it's
the boys
a
I
freaking
love them,
gas
what a win.
station. But
He said, "Tell the boys I love them. What a win!" He couldn't hear anything, but that was great. I knew he'd be able to talk for 2 minutes about Charlottesville grub. He already messaged me he's like, "Yo, can't wait to get to Charlottesville and grub with you guys." All right, months
Legend.
away. Kev, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I got a hypothetical for you guys, clutch moment hypothetical. McCabe, it's actually for you to answer in specific, but game on the line. Would you rather have the ball in Brendan Millon's stick down by 1 or Robbie Hopper covering the ball up by 1?
I think those are both perfect options. I'd be pleased with either, but I got to go in the blood and go with B. Millie taking someone to the rack.
Yeah,
You
especially
see,
after that
Kev-
one he did last week.
Yeah, Kev, you see there, the easy one would be I want to take the route where I'm winning, where our team's winning. McCabe chooses the road less.
Player mentality too. They want the ball in their stick. We don't want the ball or the game dependent on the defense.
I was so nervous watching that last possession. That was sick, but I was super nervous.
Yeah.
TV
So
too,
obviously
the TV broadcast was Kark was calling it. He was the one thing you can't do here if you're Virginia is throw
Yeah.
anything stupid, just don't give up a goal, and then you throw the over the head check 2 seconds after.
Yeah, Kark had a little bit of a cross Ferrara moment there.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally. McCabe, I don't know if you remember this. Your freshman year, I had you on my old
yeah.
podcast, the Crease
Yeah.
Dive. Was that your first interview in college?
It might have been, yeah.
Yeah. How much better am I than Mitch at this?
We'll see if you can do an intro like Mitch, and then we'll talk.
Yeah,
Baby, come on. You gotta know your strengths. You gotta know your strengths.
You gotta know your strengths. I like that.
Yeah. I want you guys to know that I'm actually the first self-declared stock buyer into UVA's 2027 season. As someone that gets caught with a lot of shitty takes, I don't know if I can even go back in on the 2026 UVA team just yet, but looking to next year, I'll be the first one with the Millon jersey, the double Millon jersey down the side. But I want to revisit something. A couple weeks ago, McCabe, I was kind of carrying the water for you a little bit in the Tewaaraton race. I don't know if you happened to see this at all, but Garrett Epple commented on my Instagram, if he's so good, why does UVA suck? What would you say to anybody that says that?
Well, I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinions, and it's the lacrosse world, and everyone has their own takes on things, whatever, and it's how it goes with everything. But I think it kind of goes back to what Brendan and I were talking about earlier, just the belief and togetherness, and there were definitely like some losses, and where they hurt really bad, and you're
right.
caught asking yourself why. But I think that we've been so huge props to our leadership and captains, and I think we've just been able to stick together and knew that these big wins were coming, and it feels great to get one of those.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, just on the same, like, we deal with burners all the time, like especially on like the Twitter links. Like, I mean, Garrett Epple's not a burner; he's saying it behind, and he has like the accolades to back it up. But and obviously he's from a rival school like Notre Dame. But freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, you're now an upperclassman. Like, how do you personally deal with the comments on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and like, is there anything that you told Brendan going into his freshman year of like, hey, the noise is going to be amplified a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, so we've kind of taken a similar approach. I stay kind of off social media a bunch during the spring. I got like the screen time limit on there, so I'm only on there like 15-20 minutes a day. So just trying to stay off, like getting into the weeds of checking out like who's the hot player this week, like who had a sick game. And, I'm following everything on the Inside Lacrosse website instead. So yeah, I don't really feel like dealing with just reading, and there's just no reason to get into the weeds. So kind of long-winded, but I know Brendan's been even completely off Instagram and social media this year. So I think we talked about how I've done that in the past, and I just think it keeps your head in a better spot. Stay in the moment, spend time with friends, stay off your phone.
Totally.
Yeah, Brendan, I want to ask you about Hudson Hausman. Dude's absolute stud. Can you just talk to us about the impact he's had for you guys this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the short stick D-midi position is an incredibly important one. And he's just a beast. He's incredibly physical. He's a great teammate, obviously, and then he can push the ball in transition. So he's really helped us so far this year, just kind of being a presence along with guys like John Schroeder, just being incredibly physical and just kind of doing the dirty work for us. So I'm happy that Hudson was able to get two the other day.
Mitch, Riverside, stand up there.
Riverside, stand up.
Riverdale.
Right. Locking it down for the Who's. Love that.
McCabe and Brendan, Mitch was bragging on our call earlier how he used to like roast him
I
back
don't
in practice day as a young
Schroeder's
8th grader.
career.
Mitch is like a
When
24-year-old
Schroeder was a freshman, I was
senior.
with the blonde mullet at Riverside giving him the work. I don't want to say I potentially made him a better defender, but I'm going to put my accolades up there.
Yeah,
Schroeder,
John
what a
Schroeder
legend,
is
though. Odd cat.
He's about a 10-step walk through that door.
No, what's it like living with him?
Get him.
What's it like living with him? He seems like a strange bird.
He's awesome to live with. He's a very very intellectual individual, so
Yes.
he will
Great
spend a
word.
lot of time. Like he'll show up after practice or during the day, whatever. What's up, guys? Go to his room and just read. So he's not as our apartment is like kind of the spot where we don't have a lacrosse house, so our apartment kind of ends up being that where everyone just come over, hang out, watch YouTube, play Xbox, whatever, and Schroeder's usually hang out in his room, bettering himself as we're all sitting there rotting all day.
Yeah, I think that's a Riverside thing because Mitch would always just read books. That's what Hoagie told me.
I've read books since
I don't think
Belmont
Mitch has
Ridge
read
Middle
a
School.
book in his life.
Which
I'll be
which
honest.
of you two goes up against Schroeder more in practice, and what's he like?
I'd probably say you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're great in practice. We're always he and I are always trying to chirp at each other to see if we can pick each other's nerves a little bit. and that's always really fun. But I mean, obviously, I think he's the best defenseman in the country. We got 2 guys right now who are just locked down, and our defense has been so sick, and they're so legit this year. But yeah, I mean, being able to go against Schroeder, every day is making me a better player, making him a better player, and it's always a blast.
Yeah, Jake Merrick, I think that was one of the best stories, obviously, coming into the season, right? Like, you guys didn't even know he was going to be on the team. Come fall, he just happened to go to Virginia, gets connected, involved, and then now he's starting, and there were some ups and downs kind of at the end of the year. I mean, at the beginning of the year. But now he seems to be coming to form the last couple weeks. He's been unbelievable. Can you guys kind of talk about how you guys first heard about Jake Merrick, how he kind of came on the team, and kind of how that first practice was with him and how it's kind of like evolved to where it is today?
Yeah, I mean, he's unbelievable teammate, unbelievable guy, and crazy story most people don't know. At Air Force, he's studying to be like a special ops medic. So he'll spend, he'll work a 12-hour shift at the UVA hospital, getting his hours and things in, and then show up to practice. We're like, dude, he's like, I was up at 3:30, started my shift. We're like 3:30 a.m. So he's just an unbelievable guy, unbelievable teammate, dog, and I heard kind of late that he was coming in and playing this year, and then Truett and I, we went out and had a lunch with him, went out, shot, got to talk, know each other, whatever. So he's been great.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable for us. Obviously, the goalie position is critical, and he's given us a huge surge over the last couple weeks with his play. And then, like Gabe said, great guy.
Yeah, Mitch, you got to love the fit, too. I feel like he wears the extra low socks with the cleats in the net. Mitch, that's a you style. You love the low sock.
I love that. What are you guys? McCabe, you always rock the one high sock, but
yeah, it's
you've
a
always
nice
been
look.
a shorty guy?
Nah, I mean, like kind of last year I started wearing like a little bit longer socks, like the Nike ones, and I just like fold them over. I don't like the low socks anymore, really.
Yeah, that was my least favorite trend. Like, I was like, 2016's got to take the game back. When everyone went to the low socks, like, I was like, I cannot cover this shit anymore. Like,
McCabe, how'd
so
you start
angry.
like your little half leg sleeve?
Shelly.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. What is it? A swag thing? Is it a comfort thing? Kind of break that down. Why did he start?
It was just kind of a swag thing. I remember watching, like as a freshman, it wouldn't have been freshman year. It probably would have been sophomore year, 8th grade, whatever. Watching him ball out in the tournament, and I was like, yo, what's the deal with his sock? Like, he's got like one high one. And then I just decided, like, that year of my sophomore year of high school, I was like, I'm gonna start rocking this thing, and just been doing it ever since.
What's it been like for you now that he's your coach? Like, how's it different going from teammate to coach relationship?
It's been awesome. It's we got so close over the 1 year we got to play together, and stayed close last year and stayed in communication. I was always asking him, trying to bounce things off him. But it's been great. I mean, him and Coach 𝐓𝐇𝐄 have done such a good job of getting us in the right spots, and just being able to move guys around and just get us set up in a great place to win. So, but Connor's he's a dog with the film. It's ridiculous where we'll like finish practice, show up the next day, he's got like 900 clips, and we're like going through watching film, and it's like, yo guys, we got to lift, and he's like halfway through his playlist of clips. So he's a dog.
You guys lead the league or lead the country with almost 10 assists per game. Brennan, how much do you think Shelly is responsible for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think he is partly. I think we just love sharing the ball, and that's just kind of been our culture. I felt, at least since day one, like we don't care who puts the ball in the back of the net. We just want to make sure that it gets there. And obviously incredible off-ball players that are in the right spots, and then incredible shooters, and then just all-around teammates. So Shell's helped a lot with that, for sure.
Yeah, Brendan, you just touched on the unselfishness. McCabe, going back to you really quick, like, I think one of the most unselfish things that you do is your ability to go like outside the box, play down low, just kind of doing whatever the team needs you to personally do. What do you like the most about coming out of the box?
Yeah, I think it can kind of give you a little bit more space sometimes. It's always nice being able to come out and like get that downhill run. So I think it gives a little bit more space. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's been cool how we've been able to all kind of rotate through and give defenses a different look, different times, different games. So I mean, I think really what Brendan hit on is just the culture of unselfishness that Shelley and Coach Cassis and everyone else has brought to the offense. Of anyone can go anywhere and score the ball from anywhere, pass from anywhere, but all that matters is that it ends up in the back of the net.
Yeah, Brendan, and then going back to you, what do you think McCabe brings to the offense when he's attacking from up top?
I think he's just a presence for sure. He's someone that the defense has to be looking for and worried about, especially when he kind of gets that extra space with his speed. So he makes my job easy, off the ball when he has it. Just drawing all that attention and slides and just kind of making guys think. It allows me and the rest of the offense to kind of feed off of it when he's kind of getting that big run in space. So
who's faster of you two in like a 40?
Probably me.
Really?
Nah, I'm kidding. Okay, but obviously. I don't have that bookend speed.
I want to talk a little bit about the end of that Maryland game. Obviously, that didn't go your way, and there was a lot of turmoil on Twitter and social media. People wanted to talk about UVA and Coach Tiffany and stuff, and then obviously there was that quote after the game where Coach Tiffany was like, "I think this is what's gonna like change the season," and a lot of people I feel like on Twitter wanted to clown on it,
not me,
and say like this guy's crazy, yada yada yada. But one of the big pieces of your team, I think, that really started at the end of that game was Andrew Greenspan coming in at the faceoff X. He went toe-to-toe with Henry Dodge late in that game, really propelled you back at the end. And he's been 67% over the last 3 games. What has he kind of meant to you guys as a team this year, as a guy who you've played with now for 2 years, maybe hasn't gotten as much burn as he wanted to last year and the start of this year, but now he's becoming a key contributor, and he might be the guy that really helps you guys push towards a tournament shot this May?
Yeah, I mean, our face-off unit this year has been so sick with our guys being able to rotate through and show different looks to opposing face-off guys. But, yeah, man, Greeny has been unreal the last couple games. And, I've known him for a little while. We played, I remember in showcases and whatever, getting to see him and hang out. And so when he transferred here, it was, sweet. We're really excited. And, but yeah, I think it's been awesome, just that extra spark. But I think our unit as a whole has been so good this year. And, it's pretty nice knowing when you're down at attack or coming out of the box, whatever, playing offense, to know that the ball is probably going to come your way. So, he really has been phenomenal the last couple games.
B, I want to pop to you. Obviously was with you during the whole entire recruiting process. It was a tough one. Took you a little bit, but obviously every school was, giving you their best offer. Yeah. Obviously decided to go to Virginia to play with McCabe. How has McCabe made it easier for you in your college transition off the field?
I mean, yeah, it's been incredible. It's been so helpful to have, not only like a friend and someone there for you, but someone that really looks out for you and is kind of there for you as you are figuring everything out. He's, sending you reminders and texts and little pointers of things, the do's and don'ts, obviously. He's been really, really helpful, obviously on the field, but off the field, it's been something that I've valued a lot, having my brother here.
Thanks, B.
Yeah, I've never told him that.
I love that.
McCabe's like felt that in the heart. He's like, that's my guy.
To each other.
I love that.
You guys had a great game yesterday. Obviously, want to congratulate you guys on that. But as a guy that likes to win Saturday nights, what's one word you guys are just used to describe Charlottesville on a Saturday night, especially after a big time win?
Fun.
Quiet.
Yeah, it's
Schroeder's rooting.
Oh, he wasn't reading. But yeah, it was a pretty fun day yesterday, to say the least.
Electric.
Yeah, my cousin's That's a good one. My cousin's a freshman on the baseball team this year.
Oh, sick.
You're on I'm like, you guys on campus? He's like, no, we just lost 16-0 to BC.
Yeah.
Like, the lacrosse
Saw
guys
that.
go find the lacrosse guys. Big time win. I got one for you guys. Both answer it separately. Mount Rushmore of UVA lacrosse.
Wow.
Got to put, having played with Connor and Peyton, they gotta be up there. And Peyton having the goals record for a little bit, and Shelley obviously being 4-time first teamer. Got to go Steele.
Yeah.
It's a big one. Last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
honestly, I don't know if it's 4 or 5. I was like, I hope they don't ask me.
I think I got a Tewaaraton winner in actually I'll say either Matt Ward winning the Tewaaraton or Jay Jalbert.
You got to choose one. You got to choose one.
That's
You didn't even know if it was 4 or 5, Dukes.
Yes, sir, McCabe. Let him know.
I like that.
That was good. That was good, McCabe.
B, who you picking?
Yeah. So I'm gonna obviously go with Schellenberger. Then I'm gonna throw Matt Moore on there. And then I think I'm gonna go Steele, and then Corms. I think so. Very similar, but I'm
just
No Kevin Pelkey?
just
No
say-
Kevin Pelkey
No
on the
Kevin
Mount
Pelkey.
Rushmore?
No Kevin Pelkey.
Where's Kevin Pelkey?
Do you guys also do combined?
Right there. that man built Klockner.
The house that Pelkey's grew. Oh my god! Do you guys do a combined alumni game, like where it's like alumni versus current players?
Usually no. We try and we'll mix everybody in. A lot of times it's like we get a ton of guys from like the class that just graduated.
Yeah.
And they'll try and do like every year they're always pushing like, please make it alums versus players. But one of the issues is the alums are usually intoxicated by the time the game starts.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
So the alums versus players, we tried it 2 years or last year. No, I guess my sophomore year. So not the most recent one. And the score was lopsided very, very quickly. And everyone was kind of like, all right, well, are we actually going to just like, are we going to try and do something a little productive here? Or is this just like, we're doing nothing?
Well, I was gonna say because you guys didn't put any defenders on there, so I was like, watch out for your elbows next year. And then I got one more for you guys right now. Who's the toughest defender you've gone up against in college? Can't be a teammate, can't be a sellout answer too. Like toughest person that you've gone up against. And then Brendan, I want your answer too, because in your young career.
Cool.
I don't know. I mean, everyone's guys are so good. It's tough to pick one. I mean, that's obviously right on the sellout answer, but I
Nailed it.
I love
yeah,
that.
I got to give props to former club teammate and good friend Will Schaller. Obviously, sucks that he's banged up, but he's an unbelievable player, and I've known him for a while, so it's been really cool to get to compete against him and on the biggest stage. So probably go with Will.
For me, I'm trying to think. I've only obviously played a couple games, but I'm gonna say Sean Light, just because I got to play with him at the USA games, and obviously played him yesterday. But he's very, very good, and so that was a cool experience getting to go up against him for the USA team, and then obviously yesterday. It's been cool to go against some of those guys, like Georgetown, played them in the fall. So it's just been cool to kind of reconnect with those guys and play on a bigger stage.
Yeah,
You
that's
guys
cool.
both going to be on that roster in 2028?
We'll see.
Got to learn how to play some extra. Got to take some more defensive reps. Might have to start showing up on the defensive end for practice. Like, coach, got to learn how to play sixes.
Look, dude, I think getting on this podcast, like now that you're friends of the program, we'll do this narrative. We'll push this narrative for the next 4 years.
Let's go.
There we go. You guys are already 1% better.
Yeah.
Media can be bad. Media can also be good. We can push
the envelope. We can push the envelope.
Mitch is pushing hard for Rambo in 28.
Yeah. After his response.
I want to ask you guys something really quick, though. I mean, obviously everyone knows your dad, Mark's a legend. Your mom, though, Erin, she played lacrosse at Maryland, was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2014. Who's better, you think, mom or dad?
Hey, why don't you take this one?
Nice. I want to start off by saying that they're both incredible players. Yeah. So our dad, obviously, has a very similar game to McCabe, kind of that slashing dodger, and kind of playmaker and drawing slides. And I like to say that I play more like my mom, which is kind of scoring any way you can, making the right plays, and then kind of just trying to be as tough as possible. So I'd probably say that my mom, just because I play.
So you're saying you're better than McCabe?
In so many words, tougher and smarter.
Yeah. So my mom, obviously, she was a great passer, great scorer. So I like to try and associate myself with those things, trying to be the best of both worlds. Gabe?
Yeah, McCabe, you're not getting out of this.
I thought that was a good answer. I'm good there. I guess it is cool to kind of think it and look at some of my dad's old tape and just how similar, he and I play, even in the way, like, holding our stick, cradling, like running, all that stuff's pretty cool to see. So I'll take the opposite side and say, just because I play more like my pops, I'll go with pops.
Yeah, I went to your dad's camps growing up. Millon,
really? Where at?
Yeah, Farmingdale.
Classic. Those were so sick.
Yeah.
Those were the best.
And I want to go off this too, because I think it's so unique when you have like a mom that's a legend, a dad that's a legend, and you deal with wins and losses with both of them. Like, I think stereotypically dads are harder on their kids, moms would be the more comforting ones. I want to know, in a 2-athlete household where both parents are athletes, what is your dad saying after a bad game, bad loss? What is your mom saying after a bad game, bad loss?
Yeah, I think it is. It's cool having the 2-athlete because a lot of times hearing, even if it's from your mom, like, oh, like, great game, like, you played great, I'm sorry about the loss, like, that's kind of like,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So having my mom who also like understands it, and there's no reason just to say cheap, like, oh, you'll get them next time. So I'd say, like, over time, my dad's been like less, after the hard bad games, like, oh, like, you need to do this, and more of like, all right, let's, as two adults, like, work through and try and break down, what went wrong, what to do better. And my mom is always kind of just great in being there when, if I do want to get a hug and be like, man, that sucked, or, whatever it needs to be. But I think the main point is just not always, it's great not having to hear the, like, great job, it's all good.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, we just lost, like, we lost by 5. Like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's been really cool to have two parents that are so involved, and we're so involved in lacrosse that they really see, like, the game for what it is, and they are able to point things out, especially talking to my dad after games. He always has these points of, like, either little fixes or little just pointers on what we can do better. And then, like McCabe said, my mom is just always there for us, kind of that shoulder to cry on. So it's been really cool to have them with us every step of the way, and I hope they're grateful that McCabe and I are on the same team, so they don't have to split up,
Travel
across the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah, a little 𝐓𝐇𝐄 action, the double jersey.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, this is my last question. And we'll have Brendan answer this one first, all right?
All right.
We're going to do start, bench, cut. Start, bench, cut. Mom, Dad, McCabe.
Oh,
Wow.
Let's go, freshman.
All right. Let's see. I'm gonna start McCabe.
Smart. There would have been something in your locker.
Yeah. She's the closest threat possible.
Yeah, smart.
Tomorrow. So yeah, I guess I'll start McCabe. And then
Dukes is just
Who's
ruthless.
yeah.
Who's gonna cook? Who's cooking your dinner? Is
Yeah, I
that
know, right?
when you're home for the summer?
And then all right, we'll bench my dad and then cut my mom.
Yeah. Good
Wow.
luck. Good luck eating the summer.
Sorry.
Aaron Mills.
McCabe's like, you're putting us all in the doghouse.
That could,
It's a lose-lose.
yeah.
Comes back
Love you,
next
Mom.
fall, 10 pounds lighter.
Love you, Mom.
McCabe.
Start Brendan, cut my dad, bench my mom. That way.
Good try, but
Okay,
I
it's
meant
opposite.
start, bench, Mom, Dad, and yourself.
Myself?
Yeah.
All right, cut me. I don't care. Keep parents happy.
Yeah. Gave you the easy one. I gave you the easy one.
Smart.
Cool. All right, just really quickly, looking ahead to next week, you guys got Duke in Durham. One of the weirdest streaks in college lacrosse. I don't know if you guys are super aware, but Virginia hasn't beaten Duke in the regular season since 2003. What would it mean for you guys to get that win? Is that one you maybe want a little bit more? Is there a team in the ACC that you want to beat more than others?
I think what's unique about the ACC is being 5 teams. Everyone is pretty well acquainted with one another, and everyone dislikes each team. You know, the idea of each team pretty similarly. But yeah, I think historically that streak is definitely something that we're aware of and is as you mentioned pretty weird considering in the tournament and in the ACC tournament whatever is different, but regular season weird. But yeah, I think for us right now it's we're trying to make every game to be the most important game possible. So it's something we've been talking about a lot in the locker room. So obviously, beating Duke and on their home field would be great. Would be huge for us, but no any more special than any other game or any other ACC game or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You guys even born in 2003?
I was born in 04.
Wow.
Kat, when were you born?
We can go to the next question.
All right, to end it off here, boys. Obviously, it's been a great last 3 weeks. I feel like you guys are peaking at the perfect time with this team. If for you guys, how would you categorize what does success look like for Virginia lacrosse in the second half of the season for the rest of the year?
I'd say that it's not necessarily like, get to the ACC tournament, like get to the Final Four. Like, I just think that, obviously it is, but I think what I want for this team is to just continue to keep fighting. And no matter what happens, no matter what, if we lose, if we don't snap that streak, like, I just want us to play really freaking hard and to have fun doing it. And hopefully, continue to win some games and stay hot, because I know what we're capable of, and that's something really special. And I think everyone believes it.
Yeah, I think, from also, at the end of the day, like, this is supposed to be fun, and you come to a place like this, and because it is so fun. But, last year having, struggled through and, not really won many big games or any big games, like, I think it was a really good reminder, for myself, the group, whatever, like, what is out there and, not, being able to finally come out on top of one of those where it felt like, it was going to be a 50-50. We'll see where this ends up. And especially having, being down 2 most of the game, like, I think it was just an awesome reminder of getting a big win, getting to enjoy a Saturday in Charlottesville. So I think it was a really good reminder. And, like Brendan said, just being able to go out, empty the tank every single day, and whatever happens is going to happen.
I got one more to end you guys off. The There and Back classic YouTube video, Dirty Bird Gang,
Correct.
Scooter Gang. Is that still a thing? McCabe, I was there freshman year with you doing the documentary on the team. There was a bunch of scooters. Do you guys have scooters? Is that still a part of UVA men's lacrosse?
Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah, it is.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Absolutely.
That's sick. Well, boys, we appreciate you guys coming on.
Real quick, a crazy, funny story I got to hit you with. So we had our picture day, our team photo. We do it at the Rotunda, which is like a 4 or 5 minute moped drive from where our practice is. And obviously we're all like we're in our jerseys because we're about to do picture day. So we moped the entire team in our full jerseys across through campus to the Rotunda, which is basically the center of campus where everyone is. Walk up, take our photo, moped back.
Yeah, obviously.
One more for you. Even better. We practiced at Scott Stadium before Utah, and we had I don't even know why people were doing this, but because we were practicing at Scott Stadium, people were getting dressed at our locker room, full equipment, cleats, helmet, gloves, arm pads, and mopeding to Scott Stadium.
Let's go. So, someone's got to have a video out there. I
we
got
did.
that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I saw that on TikTok.
Mitch, we used to do the same thing at Ohio State for our pregame practices when we used to play in the shoe instead of where our facility is now, or the stadium.
It's got to be a bigger thing. Like I feel
we
like
would get our
UVA is the
gear
only team
on,
that does
and then
it.
we'd have to drive in action. We didn't have the mopeds at Ohio State, so we just took the cars. Guys had helmets. Guys are driving in cars with gloves on. It's like we're at the red light. People are like looking at us like we got 3 heads, pal, driving over there.
Unreal.
Classic, though. I love that.
God.
I love that. The tradition continues. Well, boys, we appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Good luck
boys.
the rest of the way.
Thank
Good
you,
luck
guys.
the rest of the way,
Good luck.
fellas.
Let's hop into a little quarter 3 action and keep the podcast going. Duke Cannon, work harder, smell better, moment of the week. This week, we got Hayden Summers, crazy overtime game winner. Rutgers against Hopkins. Caught it off a rebound, put in the back of the net. Scarlet Knights with a big-time win over the Blue Jays. Kev, you were watching that game pretty tight. What did you see?
Yeah, and while Hayden Summers' put-back goal to win it was awesome in double overtime, I got to give a shout-out to the play with 12 seconds left. Hopkins was kind of in the driver's seat for the entire game. Orange Linus was playing amazing. And then all of a sudden with 12 seconds left, Rutgers gets a restart on their own end. They go the length of the field, and Casey Mongillo buries a bounce shot from about 16 yards out, 1 second left. They go to overtime, no goal in the first overtime, and then, of course, Hayden Summer in the second overtime. That's the second year in a row that Rutgers has taken down Hopkins, and Summer had a hat trick the last time they played, so he's a little bit of a Blue Jay killer.
Yeah, I like that. A little kryptonite action. Let's hop to a little program-defining win, shall we? Hoagie, I'm gonna give you the mic here. Program-defining win. Who we got?
Let's talk about program-defining win. We talk about Dukes wants to say ACC is the best conference in all of college lacrosse, right? Look, Virginia, they were the class of the ACC national championships in 2019, 2021. Notre Dame said, no. Now it's my crown now. Back-to-back national championships in 2023 and 2024. So you know what? What does Virginia do? They got to get their program-defining win back. They say, we're the kings of the ACC. We're going to go beat the #1 Notre Dame team when everyone doubts us. Virginia beating Notre Dame on Saturday. Program-defining win of the week in my book.
All right, Hoagie, wait a minute, because I'll one-up you here. I've got a conference-defining win of the week. Bucknell beating Lafayette in overtime this week. Why? Because with this outcome, the Patriot League officially completed the Circle of Parity. Before the end of March, mind you. Let's run through this. Remember, on March 6th, when Lafayette beat Army, upset, that's the starting point of the circle. From there, Army beat Lehigh this past weekend. Lehigh beat Loyola. Loyola beat Holy Cross. Holy Cross beat Colgate. Colgate beat, Colgate beat Boston U. Boston U beat Navy. Navy beat Bucknell. Bucknell beat Lafayette. And there you have it. The Circle of Parity completed in just a span of 1 month. All of those results happened between February 28th and March 28th.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the best conference in lacrosse, and that's the most fun conference in lacrosse, meaning the ACC is the best and Patriot League's the most fun.
What? So you have ACC the best. You have Patriot League the most fun.
Most
What's
fun.
Big Ten?
It's like Big Ten and like everything. It's just the most boring, unglamorous, gritty. It's a compliment.
I would say
hey,
Big Ten's probably the most
basketball
boring.
conference. Basketball conference. Got Illinois. You got
What
Illinois in
conference
the
is
fun.
Dayton real quick?
A10. I compared the A10 for anyone on Twitter that's not like a YouTube Zoomer like Mitch. For all my old bloods on Twitter, I said A10. A10 was the Patriot League of college basketball. It's just anarchy.
I like
Just
that.
like,
I like
you,
that.
it's so many like
like
every
that.
loss is a bad loss. There's no good wins. It's just you see Army every year. Just like every loss they have, it's like it's a conference loss at the end of the day. It's
If
not
you guys
really a
are
bad
like
loss.
the 𝐓𝐿𝐄𝐑𝐄 and don't have Twitter, please like this YouTube video, reshare it, do whatever you want because I'm not a Twitter guy. I'll never be a Twitter guy. But for the third week running, we have, once again, Hoagie's headlines. Hoagie, as always, I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock, and it's all yours. Ready in 3, 2, 1, go.
Going with women's lacrosse to start. Number 1 North Carolina and number 2 Stanford both lost last week. So did number 4 Navy, leaving just one undefeated team left, the Maryland Terrapins. Joey Solina surpassed 300 career points, joining Mikey Powell's the only player in Syracuse history to reach that milestone. He needs 7 points to pass Powell as the program's all-time points leader. Eric Spanos had 8 points for Maryland in a 14-8 win over Michigan. He's the TLN player of the week. Yale goalie Ben Friedman made 20 saves, including the biggest one of the game with 5 seconds left to seal the massive upset victory over Cornell. Sam Apuzzo went number 1 overall to the Maryland Charm in the WLL supplemental draft. They also picked up Nicole Humphrey, reuniting her with Ashley Humphrey. 11 new players were added to the Tewaaraton Award watch list, including Syracuse goalie Jimmy McCool. Number 1, Lawrenceville, New Jersey, lost to Episcopal School Academy in Pennsylvania. Notre Dame versus Richmond will officially be streamed this weekend on the ACC network. Arizona State's women's lacrosse game had to be postponed due to bees. Salisbury has lost multiple games in the regular season for the first time since 2018. Was Miles right all along? St. Anthony's beat Chaminade, and on Saturday night, the Buffalo Bandits begin the first NLL franchise to play 500 games in league history. Luke Raymond scored a career-high 7 goals for Villanova in a 21-7 win over St. John's, and High Point upset number 16 St. Joe's 16-15 behind 6 points from Ryan Haynes. Unbelievable weekend in college lacrosse. There's your recap.
Wow. 90 seconds.
Yeah,
Did
need
a
a
great
little
job.
bit. Need an audio ding or something.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to give me the alert, Mitch. I thought you were going to give me the countdown.
He was. It was a finger
Dukes,
countdown.
As a guy that studied
Yeah.
this at Dayton, as a guy that's had a podcast before we were all born, can you give Hoagie any tips?
You're great. Just touch on high school lacrosse more and you'll get Mitch's attention.
Yeah.
I watched. By the way, I watched the St. Anthony Chaminade game.
You did?
Live? Were you there?
Stream
Not
was
live.
excellent. Stream was excellent. I watched it too, dude.
It's crazy. By the way,
Unbelievable stream.
let's
It's
just
better than
talk
a lot of
about
college
that.
streams.
Hit that.
It is insanity that we can get a stream like that and people want to talk about production costs and all this and all
Unbelievable
that.
stream.
When you have a production like that, giving us St. Anthony
How was your
Chaminade on
Chipotle
YouTube
bowl
for
today,
free.
Dukes?
Yeah,
How
it
was your
was great.
Chipotle
I
bowl?
paid $45 2 weeks ago for a game that I thought was going to be covered today, and it wasn't. I watched one game for $45. Didn't get it today, so I got my Chipotle bowl before this podcast, and I did not watch UNC Harvard. I watched it on the box score like a gentleman and a scholar. Also found out a Garden City kid was the best player for St. Anthony's that day, so I guess like in some way it's a sicko win.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, they look good. They look good.
You guys
St.
got good
Anthony's
connections,
chasing 7
Mitch,
in a row.
Dukes. You guys got connections with the high school coaches there right now. Can we get a Riverside Garden City game next year? We'll do a live show.
See that. We would-
That would be a mercy rule.
I don't know how much the Garden City coaches like me.
Story for another time.
Senior year got a little gray over there.
Yeah. Let's hop into little Mitch's mailbox. We have the number on the screen, 762-847-0493. Call in. Leave your hottest takes. You have your chance. And again, leave your guys' names. Sometimes you guys leave the greatest takes and we have no idea who's calling in. Leave your hottest takes. You'll be played on the show. The man from the Angels, Alex Poole, please come on the screen and give us this week's best Mitch's mailbox.
What's up, boys? It's your guy, Lax Guy Scotty. I just stopped my 10-mile jog to talk to you guys for a second. Now check this out. You guys hear about an announcer getting mad about Leo Johnson barking and talking trash after scoring? Like talking about how that's not Maryland lacrosse? Get out of here with that. Like, I don't want to hear none of that. Like, then he brings up how Maryland is 3-4 and how he should just go back to the huddle after scoring. I don't care if Maryland is 0-7. In that moment, Leo Johnson earned his moment. He talked his shit, didn't start anything, and went on to win the damn game. Tired of people acting like there's only one way to act in lacrosse. This guy would probably hate to watch a football or basketball game. Sports are more fun when people have passion and they show their passion. I'm wondering what you guys think about this whole situation. All right, guys, I got to go bench 225 for 35 reps. I'll see you guys later.
Last guy, Scotty Royster, an absolute legend. I want to give some context to that. Maryland was obviously playing Michigan. Leo Johnson takes a step down, scores it on Michigan, talks a lot of trash. The video's on the screen right now. Mark Dixon, lacrosse legend, a guy I've broadcast some games with. I love him. Great dude. Kind of took the boomer route, essentially, I feel like, in the aspect of not really talking a lot of trash. I love Mark Dixon. He's so great at what he does.
This is not Maryland lacrosse. Higgins' defense is hung up. Leo Johnson recognizes a little bit of time, puts it in, and then look at him barking at the Michigan defender. It's unnecessary. You made a play. You stuck it in the back of the cage. You're 3-4, Leo. Just go back to the face-off and make the next play. Matt Rambo never behaved that way. Jared Bernhardt, Logan Wisnauskas, all the greats from Maryland never behaved in that fashion. Leo Johnson needs to drop that from his game.
But I'm curious. Dukes, let's start with you because I feel like you have an opposite take of this. Are you agreeing with Dixon or are you agreeing with Lax Guy Scotty?
I'm agreeing with Lax Guy Scotty. I think it's one of the most boomer takes of all time. I hate when people tell you how you should act after a goal. Like, I'm not about starting fights after a goal. I'm not about starting fights at the end of the games. I'm about earn your moment, talk your shit. Like, that's what it's about. You've earned the right to tell that player, I'm better than you. You cannot stop me. And you don't want him to do that, don't let him score a goal. I don't think a record has any indication over that. And also, you want to talk about scoring goals on like a 3-4 team? Nobody knows that better than the Yale Bulldog the last couple of years.
That's true. Kev, what do you got?
I was going to say, I feel like there's a lot of context in here and layers to this. Like, it was very Yale coded. Like, Yale, they're big trash talkers. If you're John Tillman and you're going to go bring in some Yale guys, you know that's part of the deal. The whole deal with he said Matt Rambo never did that. Logan Wisnauskas never did that. Jared Bernhardt. I don't know about that. Also, they're not wearing number 1. Eric Spanos is wearing number 1. So Leo Johnson shouldn't be held to the same standard as those guys regardless. I do think there's a little bit of a point when you're talking about your team's 3-4 and it's your first goal you're scoring in a game against a team you've lost 4 in a row to. Like, maybe you want to make sure you're going to win that game first before you start talking crap. But ultimately, I didn't think it was as big a deal as Mark Dixon made it out. But if you watch Maryland, if you watch Leo Johnson, the clip cuts a little short, but he's like, he does this every week, every goal. So it's just part of Leo Johnson's style. Some people like it, some people don't.
Hoagie, finish this off.
I mean, I agree with Scotty in the point of more I like the passion. I think you want to have the passion. That's what makes sports so special. But at the same time, I'm not a trash talker. Never been a trash talker. I don't think you personally need that in the game. You're on Big Ten Network. You're in a big moment. You know that that's probably going to be replayed. People watching it. Is that how you kind of want to be seen in the national light? Personally, if that was me, I'd rather be seen chest bump, fist pump my boys, firing it up than talking trash. But maybe that's just me. I'm not a trash-talking guy. So I say, touch 6 helmets, fire up the bench, get the boys going.
Dukes, was that a chat GPT answer?
Such a wet blanket, dude. You are such a wet blanket.
I've never chirped someone in my whole 5 years of college lacrosse. I have never talked trash. I've had some pretty heinous things said to me, but I have never talked trash. I smile and wave.
Real quick, even if you were – oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dukes.
No, you go.
Even if you were Tillman and you were okay with this now, well, now it's kind of blowing up and it's getting called out in the broadcast. If you're Tillman, do you have to say something to Leo Johnson or you just say keep playing the way you're playing?
I don't think you say anything. I think Tillman doesn't care if they win. He doesn't care when anything happens.
Right. Quickly for the next voicemail, the narrative is around Mark Dixon being a loser, and I'm sure he's a great guy, but that is the narrative. I'm not saying that. That's the narrative. I'm speaking of the narrative that he's being a loser and all that about a college kid that's enjoying scoring a goal. I do want to hold up on this, though. Hoagie, you just said you're saying this on a national broadcast. It's going to get media attention. Is it? Because, like, this season, every game's behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Most likely 25% of the people that are really
game was
into
on Big
lacrosse.
Ten Network.
Oh,
on
it was?
national
Okay.
TV.
I thought it was on Big Ten Plus. So
No, that was on
I
actual
making a
TV.
joke.
So,
Yeah.
but I was say
true, because Mitch wasn't on the call. It was Mark Dixon.
But
So
Scotty
I'll
calling in, I will
that.
say Scotty's having a good week. I don't know if you guys are too tuned up with what Scotty's been doing, but he's been running a mile for every goal that Rutgers lost. So Rutgers, big 2 overtime victory today. He's off the hook with his mile this week, so he's got to be
That means Mitchell's
That's
running
awesome.
the mile. Anytime Rutgers
No, that'll
runs,
actually
Mitchell
be
runs.
Kev.
How
at
many?
Final
Mitch
Four
is running
weekend.
7 miles.
doing the turkey trot 5K. Also, I got to back up my guy Mark Dixon. Dukes, this guy's a lacrosse legend. A guy I've looked up to in the booth a ton. Absolute legend. Has a different opinion. I got to back my guy up. And for the ones that didn't see the game behind the paywall, we got Bookman Live giving us his 60-second rundown on the UNC Harvard game.
My man Mitchell, it's your buddy Booker, Corrigan. Yeah, the broadcast. Yeah, I don't know if you remember me, but I just did the Harvard versus Carolina game. 17-7. Carolina imposes their will. The story, offensively, Owen Duffy scoring goals every way you can possibly imagine. He's so quick, he could come in a revolving door behind you and beat you out the other side. The other story, Josh Marcus in the cage for Carolina. Unbelievably efficient, clean. They cleared the ball unbelievably well. And, of course, Brady Wambach, first-team All-American faceoff guy, and he doesn't look like he's going away anytime soon. He is a stud. Dude, he reminds me of you, the way you used to dominate games, Mitchell. Like you used to dominate games. Love you. Can't wait to talk.
Is he sure he's not thinking of Hoagie at Manhattan?
Mitch, have you ever been in a revolving door with Booker?
Have you ever come in a revolving door?
Have you ever went? Was it backwards technically?
The way he paused it, I was like,
Yeah.
Where's this one going?
We have Bookman in the voicemail, and then a minute beforehand, we have Dukes shitting on paying the paywall broadcast. It's kind of critical.
whoa, I'm thankful.
criminal.
Check the tweets. I'm shitting on the broadcast because I paid $45. My mistake was not going to double down and buy another broadcaster 16. I said, Booker, good guy, good human being. Thank you for always helping out this podcast. I'm a Booker Corrigan guy. Stamp it.
Yes, I like that.
True
I would
Lax
love-
Rat fan, Mitch. I would go hungry and starving before I missed a paywall game. I'm paying $60 for a game over Chipotle. I'll sacrifice my dinner.
Oh yeah,
that
you
night.
paying $61 for 2 games, Hoagie?
I guess if you're in your boat, $61 for 2 games.
If I paid 16 for the one,
when you say the 16, it's like it's not that bad, Dukes. But then when you put it into terms like you said with the 45, you're like, okay, that's where
I was gonna have to be like watching it on my phone. I was like, we're not doing this. We're gonna box score watch. We're gonna talk about Owen Duffy scoring 7 goals. We're gonna talk about Graham Stevens and Cage for Harvard. I almost said UNC.
What about the day that it becomes
Wrong day.
pirating when someone just illegally downloads it and streams it on YouTube and then like everyone gets it for free?
Has
Like
that
the
not
old
happened yet?
Hopkins admin did it last year against Denver, if you
Yes.
remember.
they pirated. That
We'll
might be
also-
the future avenue, Mitch, for you on the YouTube channel. Get a lot of viewers over there.
When
Start
we
pirating
get-
games.
No, when we get like Reddit, when we get like college lacrosse and PL games on like Stream East, that's when we made it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Lacrosse is at the stage. All right, let's finish off with ball knower. Pelkinator had a massive win last week.
AP, get in here.
Make a wish,
get in
Mitch!
here. I think the standings are Kev, I want to say. Is that 2-0? Or Kev's in first place. I'm in second. Dukes is in third.
No.
I got a
You just got
donut,
them
Mitch.
all
I have a
so
donut.
wrong.
I got a
Or
donut.
AP.
It's me. I have 2.
Also, guys, AP, the beard is growing back, folks. Let us know in the comments below if you like the
Hair's
beard
coming in
on
too,
or
Mitch.
off.
Look.
He's got the hair, too. Fun fact, he actually is potentially flying to Turkey here soon. If you guys want to see that, we will make a designated video on TLN's YouTube channel. AP, how we doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I haven't had time to shave my head. We've been house hunting. We got an offer out on a house. Everybody wish us luck. We'll hear back tomorrow morning.
I like that.
So yeah, I'm stressed and it's falling out, and then I don't have time to shave it, so it's growing back, and this is what you get. So
No, I like.
I think it looks great. Mitch.
What are the standings so far? Did I actually mess those up?
no, it is Mitch. You got 2, but Dukes also has 2. KB has 1, and Sandwich Boy has 0.
I got 0.
Wow.
This is, Mitch, you want to talk about all-time sad performance? That's the lane I'm going down right now. It's getting dark.
I'm taking first place here. AP, what do we got this week's Ball Knower?
All right. By the time this episode comes out, the news will be live. Eric Spanos is TLN's Player of the Week. Against Michigan, he had a solid 8 points, 8 of which were goals. So, who was the last Maryland Terrapin to score 8 goals in game?
Joe Walters.
Jared Bernhardt.
Grant Catalina.
Bingo,
It was
Kevin
Jared.
Boilard.
It was Jared. I saw it. I
Watched
saw
the
it on the
broadcast.
broadcast. It was at the end. I saw it. I knew it.
Why are
Kev,
you
good
saying
job.
saw it with an L?
Saw it because that's my Italian in me. Hope you guys
Am I
enjoyed
crazy?
this episode. Give your props to Kev. Let's all clap it up.
Thanks,
Kev,
guys.
Clap, Dukes. Clap, clap, clap. We will see you guys next Tuesday for another episode of the Mitchell Pelkey Lacrosse Show. Dukes, fun fact, end us off. What do you got?
Garden City 2-0 this week.
Bingo. See you guys next Tuesday. Peace.
See ya.